insanity, crazy. People wonder about what is crazy, what is insane. How can I fix it if I don't know what it is? How do I get a grip on it? How does it work? What's the cure for it? How do you know when you got it? What are the symptoms? We better start cracking this egg. Let's start with the simple things. Let's start with what crazy is, what mental illness is one more time. There are two types of mental illness: physical mental problems and informational mental problems. Physical mental problems you are born with or you had an accident that caused them. They're either a birth defect or an injury. The second one, informational mental problem, which is the bulk of our mental problems, something like 95% of our mental problems, are learnt, are taught, are passed on, are caught like a disease. Caught, your mind is so incredible that it's picking up information that you are not paying attention to. So you don't have to be watching the television for the information to get in your head. All you have to do is pass the television. All someone has to do is ride by you with that rap song for the poison to get into your brain, whether you like rap or not, or what country or whatever it is that you don't like. All they have to do is pass by you and infect you with it, and you can't get it. You can't get it out of your head. It's like someone coming by and sticking a sore on you, and you can't get it off. Okay, now, but there is a countermeasure for it. But first, you must fully define what it is. It is to not have what you call a firm grip on what is the thing you mistakenly call reality. Okay? So the best way is for us to give a lot of examples of how people don't have a grip on what is, that their minds in la la land, fantasy land, not in what you call the real world. I just don't like that word. I will mention it later. I just don't want to get off track. I wanted to give you something that you can use. Okay, not just something that feels good like you're smarter now, but something that feels like I'm a lot more sane, or that's one problem I don't have anymore. That type of thing. Conflict in the inside your subconscious mind or your conscious mind causes insanity. When you have to make a choice and you can't make it, it's usually caused because of this. Because of two possibilities of truth or is, and not knowing which one is true and which one is false. There are actions. What has happened is this: it's going to get scary because you're going to realize that what has been called normal is completely, totally insane. What is called normal, not crazy, is completely insane. Okay? We'll get to the causes of it. Let's give an example. Let's give some examples of it. First, before we talk about curing something, let's give some examples of the disease, symptoms, side effects, as you call them, whatever. Um, let's do it this way. Apologies. This whole thing is a mental process, and it's insane. Most things that are only in your head, they aren't out here, are not connected to anything out here. That's insane. If it's only exist in your mind, it's insane. See, sanity is your connection between your mind and what is. That's what sanity is, your awareness of what is, how aware you are of what is. Not just what's outside of you, but yourself too, of all things. How aware you are of all things. Now, if you had all awareness, you'd be totally sane. If you had all correct awareness, if you saw everything the way it really was, understood everything to be what it really is, you would be totally sane. Apologies are insane. They don't exist except in your head. Oh, I feel better now that feel sorry, or that I said I'm sorry, or I feel better now that they said they were sorry. Why do you feel better? Nothing has changed. Why are you call yourself feeling anything? There are no feelings there. There's thoughts. Why are you thinking things are okay when they just do it? They're not okay because you said some sounds. Sounds does not really affect anything but your eardrums. Okay, well it does if it's loud enough. It can actually be a weapon. But your words, unless you're screaming in someone's ear, they have no effect on anything except the amount of air pollution. Okay? So, perfect example. Let's just cut to the chase. I'm going to give no long speech about a simple matter like this. I take a hammer, hit you in your head, and say, I'm sorry. Does this stop you from bleeding? Does this restore your memory or whatever brain damage? Does it fix the brain damage? No. I'm sorry does nothing. When someone does something to you, saying I'm sorry does nothing but give them the impression that it was not intentional. I wasn't trying to harm you. Okay, that part is understood. But there's supposed to be a part two. Now that you have, what's the procedure? It's usually, hey, let me help you pick that up. Let me help you clean that up. Let me get you to a doctor. Let me help fix it. Now, sane world would be go straight to that. Well, don't make all these useless sounds. They are aware you wasn't trying to, unless there's something wrong with their perception. Well, if you came directly at them and did something to them, they know an accident from intentional moves. There's no need for all this other stuff. Now, you make an accident and you're trying to make up for it, do it with your actions, not with your words. Because it's come to the point where people are no longer throwing the actions out there. They're simply just saying the words and move on. My bad. I'm sorry. And what does the other person say? It's okay. They're sitting there bleeding down the leg saying it's okay. That's out of touch with what is. Because it's not okay. You're bleeding. That's not okay. That's not all right. You're saying sounds. Sounds in which you don't even know what they mean. You tell me what okay means. All right? Exactly. It means all right. How come you don't say all right? How come you say okay? What does okay mean? One word does not mean another word. That's the game for your dictionary, the Trictionary, that doesn't define anything. It only tells you how to say words. But somewhere in your twisted mind, you think the dictionary gives you the answers and definitions of words. No, it would be a definitionary. It wouldn't be a dictionary. Dictionary is how to pronounce things, how to sound things out, how they're said. It's called a dictionary, not a definitionary. Okay, and that's the trick that they use. You look up this word, it tells you it means that word. You look up that word, it tells you it means the first word. And you never get an answer. So I'm asking you again, what does okay mean? And where does it come from? I'm not going to tell you. Find out. I'm not constantly providing you with answers. It's like giving you fish. This is not the purpose of these notes. The purpose of these notes is to teach you to fish. Inspire you to fish for yourself. Don't trust no one else's fish. They could be selling you some sick fish. And you're stuck on that all right, huh? You okay? Then tell me what all right means. All right means the same thing as the modern day tongue slang saying all good. And it's not. You bleeding is not all right. It's not a little right. It's not right at all. Okay? It's not good. Quit saying you should learn your own language and other people's too. You don't even know your own language. Tell me what hello means. People thinking I'm being antisocial when I don't respond to them because I don't shake hands, I don't wave, I don't say hello and goodbye. None of you idiots even know what you're saying. Walk around saying this psychobabble. Okay, hello, goodbye. You can't tell me what one of them damn words mean. Not one of them. Let me show you how things get twisted up, how those words came to be, because I'm not going to give you the answer. Hey, yo, what's up? All mean the same thing. What do they mean? Same thing as howdy. What do howdy mean? How are you doing? So you figure out these other words. Because from how are you doing, it get down to howdy. Howdy can be sounded out and you can pretty much guess that one. But hey, come on. Yo, how you going to associate that with how are you doing? Yo. Or what are you doing? What's up? Your sounds are insane and making you insane. Here's why. Natural, when you hear a sound, it puts an image in your mind of what is making that sound. You hear a sound, you see an action, object, or creature, or you see something, and it is based on that thing makes this sound. So I don't have to see it. I can hear it. I don't know, wait till the lion's on top of me. When I hear the lion roaring across the jungle, I know it's time to go. You hear a car engine, you know it's a car. Move, get out the way. It's that simple. And then language come along. Egos of men. Men that are cookie cutters, just same, looking for a way to make differences. Because they got a hive mind in a hive society. So they try to just put emphasis on differences. So you got all these languages. Here's where language messes up the brain. The sound does not go with the object. It's just whatever sound they want to attach to it. Just make it up. So now you've added sounds. Sounds that don't match pictures. That cause confusion. Now someone has to learn the sound. They have to learn the sound and learn the picture that goes with the sound. Cause you say so. Where they could have been a baby dropped off in the jungle and they would learn sound on their own. They would learn what animals make what sound and what a tree falling sounds like, and everything will be named by the sound or associated. Let me show you something that's kind of correct. The color orange has been named orange here, right? And the fruit that is this color is named orange. All right, that's kind of in the right direction. When you hear the sound, you see the right color. You see the right color, but you don't see the fruit. You're taught to see the fruit because orange is the sound of a color. Because someone associated that sound with that color. Now it's called something. Remember, it's called something different in every land. It is not orange. Don't think orange is your reality because orange is not what it is. It is what someone called it and told you to call it. In every other country, it's called something different. Everything's called something different. So your brain's messed up by thinking the sound you were taught is what it is because it's not what it is. It's what someone taught you to call it. And it's called something different everywhere. This is causing you subconscious damage of epic proportions. And no one's investigating it, no one's studying it. I can't get a PhD for any of the subjects I'm covering. There's no groundwork, there's no nothing. It's all new groundwork everywhere. Everyone's going ecstatic. We never thought about it like that. No one's ever figured this out before, and on and on and on. So I can't be legit because no one can give me paperwork. No one can give me a certificate, a PhD. No one can recognize my intelligence. Can't teach it legitimately. Can't do anything. So I have to do it this way. Okay, forget the paperwork. Forget insane people measuring me and trying to give me a document of achievement. Okay, no. It's like a person who can't dance judging a dance contest. I don't need them. I'm way past where they're at. Language is messing up your brain. It's it has to be redesigned. Okay? It would be better to call a cow a moo than a cow, cause that's the sound it makes. Better to call a dog a roof than a dog, cause that's the sound it makes. This would be a universal language because everywhere that thing is, it still makes the same sound. Okay, it still makes the same sound, but in every language, it's something different. Why can't it be called by the sound that it makes or by the image of what it is? Something that it does or anything but just some made up word that a man decided to associate with it, totally unrelated. Now we're getting off the point. This is about insanity, and that is an example of insanity. So let's get back to sanity. You're saying all these words and you don't know what they mean. We covered ignorance. You were told it meant stupid or dumb and didn't never bother to look for yourself. Ignorance. All right? The root word of ignorance is ignore. Ignore, ignoring the act, ignorance. Okay? Now, I don't know where you got stupid or dumb from, but you ought to feel really stupid or dumb right now. Going around letting people tell you something is something else. They can convince you that something is something else. They can convince you of anything. So the word game is insane. The language game is an example of insanity. And you're going to find that most of the insanity is spread by use of this effective method, language. Okay? And it's coupled together with actions. Okay? You're taught to think certain things about certain actions too. Certain symbols mean something to you. Symbols gathered together form words to you. These so-called words gathered together form sentences. Where actions are like this. An action means something to you. These actions gathered together mean something to you. The, these actions gathered together in what you would call a sentence means something to you. Not that they do, really, but you're taught that way. Okay? What you should go by, even though you're screwed up, is yourself. It is the only thing you're an authority on, and you're not an expert on that. You're just one of the highest authorities on it, okay? On yourself. You know, it seems that no one knows more about you than you. But people do know things about you you don't even know. But they don't know as much about you as you know because you've been there every second since the beginning. They haven't. They know information about you, how many pints of blood you got, how fast your heart beat. You may not know this stuff. They may know. But they don't know more, but they do know things about you that you don't know. I demonstrate that every note. But look to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. If you know what you're doing when you're lying, you know when someone else is lying. You know what you do when you're guilty, you know when someone else is guilty. When you up to a certain thing, if you know yourself, you know when they're up to it. It's the easiest ruler to go by when it comes to judging other people. All right? But you have to learn yourself first. You have to really watch yourself. Now, this is the problem with watching yourself. In real time, it's impossible to see yourself. If you look if you look in the mirror, that's not you. That's your opposite. When you move your left hand, the person in the mirror moves their right hand. That's sending the opposite image to your brain. That's not the real you. That's the opposite you in the mirror. So going by the mirror would throw you off. It'll have you doing everything backwards. I hear the sound of cars. I hear the sound of a dog yelping in the back. Is that dog a threat? No. The dog is in danger, in jeopardy, is hurt. That's what sound is supposed to do. Just a quick back note. You got neuralized somewhere around 10:08 or something like that. I'm just gonna have to move on. There will be a note on this so-called Jedi mind trick. My only note for now is that the symptom of it is temporary memory loss, short-term memory loss. Your brain has been assaulted. Attempts at reading your mind causes this problem. You may think you have Alzheimer's or you just lost your train of thought. No, impossible. That's impossible. It's impossible to forget anything. Impossible. Another useless word. Forget. Let me tell you something about the brain, the mind. Whatever goes in stays in forever. It can't get out. Information can't get out of your head. Data can't get out of your head. It can't be taken out of your head. But someone tampering with your mind is the same as someone hitting you in the head with a billy club. It will cause memory loss. This can be done psychically too, is what you don't know, and it can be done electronically. This is another subject for another time. I was blinked because of the first part of this note and about insanity. But we're going to continue on. We're just going to give some different examples of insanity. Make sure you know what it is. So when you're not aware, you're insane. Let's just say aware is sane. Unaware is unsane, insane. Continuing examples of insanity. All right? It's like this. Comedy. Your sense of humor is sick. It's insane. It was given to you. You were taught what to laugh at. You may think laughing is natural and that you just laugh spontaneously. No. Your idea of funny was implanted in your brain, just like walking and talking and everything else you know. Here's the situation. Let's not go back to the beginning of it, because you would not think it was funny to be throwing the Christians to the lions. But once upon a time, that was somebody's idea of comedy and entertainment. Feed the Christians to the lions, gladiator games. Sick people authored your thing called comedy and funny. But let's not go back that far. Let's go back to television. Those who did it through television. Example, a guy steps in a mop bucket, falls down a flight of stairs. Another guy pokes another guy in the eye, and he slaps the other guy, and that guy hits the other guy on the head. Falling through floors, mishaps, tragedies. This is the birth of your so-called comedy, okay? Laughing at other people's misfortune. Things that if they happened in real life, it would not be funny. But they do happen in real life. And because of television, you laugh at them. Someone falls and busts their butt, you laugh. Someone gets their hand caught in something, you laugh until you see their purple fingernail about to come off. Okay, you know where it stops? You weren't taught that bleeding is funny. See, they don't show the blood in the comedies when they blow people up. When all this fake mishap happens, there's no blood. Okay, but when it happens out here in the real world, there's blood. Hitting people in the head in real world causes brain damage. It's not rubber things, okay? When people fall downstairs, they're not stunt men trained to tumble. They break bones. They're teaching you to laugh at things by a system of lying. See, television is insane just in its very nature. All right? A lie is the opposite of reality. of what is. So a lie is insane. A lie is out of touch with reality and what is. Television and television acting is the art of lying to fool the watcher that it's happening for real. If you're a good enough liar, you're a good actor. Make it seem real. You know how good liars are. They can drum up tears on command, fake any emotion in face. That's a liar. So I guess you could say acting is the mastery of lying. The highest form of lying on this planet is acting, professional acting. Regular acting is lying too. Whether in your natural state, you choose a set of behavior to give impression to those around you. Okay? Act the way you act and an action aren't the same thing. An action is motion, but it can involve coming in contact with other objects. How you act is solely on you. You don't have to come in contact with anything. It's how you behave. In other words, you choose one set of behavior for church, another set of behavior for your home life, another set of behavior at work, another set of behavior when you're hanging out with the fellas or the girls, another set of behavior, you know, when the police show up, another set of behavior, okay, at tax time, Christmas time, or whatever. You switch personalities on command around your mom, around your children, around your buddies. You think it's all you, but each one of these situations you behave totally different. Sometimes opposite of how you behaved in front of your mom. So it's acting, okay, a role you play. Don't take it too serious. You're making it up as you go along. There's no script. There are set scripts. Set people get around and they do the same old stale behavior every time, as in the opera, as in social clubs and different things. But we're getting off the point. We want to talk about insanity. Lying is insane. Acting is lying. Television is the biggest spreader of mental illness ever invented. Media spreads mental illness. Before we told you mental illness was spread by communication. That's informational mental illness is spread by communication. Media does that well. It spreads insanity to every corner of the globe. Well, not just scratch that globe. Everywhere in this world, to every person. Even remote people who don't have television are affected by visitors who do, and by visiting those places that do have television. See, no one stays contained, isolated. Explorers always trespass into their world, bringing all their germs and infections and mental illnesses. Some tribes go from 400 years, living 400 years, to dying at 50 and 60 from exposure to these explorers. They've ran a game on you because you're insane. Insane is mentally impaired, okay? People are getting away with murder, literally. There are people telling you they're archaeologists, okay? They got all these names, right? They're grave robbers. They're grave robbers. And you're insane. And they think that I'm insane. Okay? If I was insane, I'd be going tit for tat. I would be teaching you with my actions, not my words. I would. This is to prove that you can't reason with insane people. If you bark about one note, here's your explorers, trespassers, bringing disease, killing people all over the world and all through history. Let me give you an example that I give often. I'm gonna go dig the grandmother up out of her grave. I'm gonna take all her jewelry from her and keep it. It's my valuables now. I found them. Even though she was in a marked grave, in a grave, she could be in her tomb. And I'll pry her tomb open, go in there, take her jewelry. Not only that, I'm gonna take your grandmother. And I'm not only gonna just take her, I'm gonna take her coffin too. And I'm gonna put it in a building on display. And I'm gonna sell tickets to come see your grandma and her jewelry. And I'm gonna call it let's call it a museum. Yeah, that's the ticket. Let's call it a museum. And I'm gonna put your dead grandma on display and sell tickets to see her dead body. Why I claim her jewelry as my valuables. When you went in those pyramids, you pissed off more than spirits. The gall, the audacity. Most of the original people who did this are dead. Those who are doing it better stop before they're dead. What's wrong with your mind? You're robbing the graves of my ancestors. And if I go dig up your relatives and take them to to the marketplace or to the park and put them on benches for display and take their jewelry, then maybe it might touch home in your insane head. Stop. Because I have the right to kill you for what you're doing. Just like you would have the right to kill me for digging up your grandma's remains and doing that to her. I'm fully within my rights to kill you for what you're doing. Think I don't remember who I am because you're in my land impersonating me. You're insane. You have amnesia. I'm giving you a pass because you don't know who you are. And someone told you you were me. You're wearing my clothes, speaking my language, but you're not me. And there's no pictures of you written on those pyramid walls. I don't care how much vinegar you put in your hair. But back to the point of crazy, because I almost went crazy just then. That's what anger is. The reason they call anger mad and insanity mad is because anger is like temporary insanity. You're not trying to reason anymore or anything. Just act out a thought like an animal. Single thought. Hurt, destroy, whatever. Self-destructive. These are examples of sanity. It's like if you get enough examples, your brain will start healing itself. In other words, if you get enough medicine, your antibodies will kick in and do the rest. Sometimes there's so much disease, it's got your antibodies overpowered and need some outside help to knock some of them out. Then your natural self can do the rest. That's what's going to happen here. That's why no one can see how are we going to ever do this, because they're on the wrong side of the treatment. They need to be treated. They're not the doctor. If they could cure themselves, they would. They could figure out a cure. They wouldn't need a cure. That's all I'm gonna tell you right now. The moment you figure out the cures, you're cured. This isn't a tangible thing. It's an intangible thing. It's informational mental problems. It means they don't really exist. They only are in your mind. Look, people, a reminder. Everything, when you ask what is real, everything is real except the thoughts in your head that you are thinking. See, this term real is made of matter, okay? Substance. Your thoughts are not. Your thoughts aren't real. That's whatever the opposite of an epiphany is. Yeah, you're walking around like what I think is a noun. No, thought is not a noun. You can't put it in a box and put it on the shelf. It's probably not a noun. So let's go back to the example way back when I was neuralized. It was probably what, like at 10 minutes, which was like what, 30 minutes ago? See, that's why it's called temporary, short term memory loss. That's why it's called temporary short term memory loss. Your memory will return. They don't actually snatch your thoughts. They can't do that. It's the prying part. It's the tampering part that causes problem. Like when I hit you with a stun gun, it causes your body problems. It's going to be a while before you recover and fully animated. It can move all your parts. You're going to be kind of numb. Well, this is what happens to your brain when you get vampired. Your mind goes blank and you can't think for a second. You totally forget what you were saying. And if you think about it, you at that second, you almost don't remember who you are. It's just you can remember who you are in a split second. What you were thinking is gone. See, who you are is not short-term memory, it's long-term. Okay, now, know the difference. When you get hit, you can't even remember what you were finna do, what you were doing. Moving down the line, let's go to my next big example of what's causing you to be insane. It's called subconscious conflict. Unresolved subconscious conflict makes it hard to think, so-called hard to learn, hard to function, and hard to move. It's like something gumming up the works. Let me give you one of my favorite examples of this. You're sent to contradictory programs, especially if you live in America. Nobody's perfect. It's put in you. At the same time, nothing is impossible. It's also programmed into you. Here's the problem. Both of these statements cannot be true, and you're programmed that they are. You're programmed that nobody's perfect and that nothing is impossible. Listen to how it sounds. They both can't be true. If nothing's impossible, then you can be perfect. And or if no one's perfect, then something's impossible. It's impossible to be perfect. So both of these can't be true. And your mind subconsciously is wrestling which one is true. And you're not helping it along. You're not working on this. Contrary to popular belief, the subconscious mind is not automatic, right? It's connected to your conscious mind and it needs help. So, which one is true? You will feel pressure released when you get this answer. You will actually, I hate to say feel it, there's no word for what I'm saying. How do you feel something in your mind? I mean, I understand how you feel something in your body, but these other things they're calling feelings, they're not feelings, they're thoughts. That's insane. It's another thing that's insane. There is no such thing as emotions. Emotions are not a noun. people are acting like emotions are a thing out here in the world. Let me explain emotions to you before I give you the answer to the question. They're called emotions because they are thoughts that have a physical effect. They cause motion in your body, such as tears, rapid heartbeat, what you call nervousness, and so on. All right, that's why they're called emotions, because they cause motions in your body. All right, something goes down in your body when you think these thoughts. Okay, your heart start pounding. Okay, that's emotion. But your heart doesn't do anything but pump blood. It doesn't feel anything. Okay, all that's taking place in your head. And so the way emotions was presented to you is making you insane, because you don't have a grip on what it really is. You don't have a grip on what is. You don't have a grip on reality. That's insane. So back to the question. Nothing is impossible and nobody's perfect. Both of these can't be true. Tell me which one is true. I'll give you a few seconds. Everyone saying both. All right. These over there are saying nobody's perfect. Nobody's. These over here are saying nothing is impossible, but more people are saying nobody can be perfect. Those of you that picked nobody's perfect are wrong. Those of you who picked nothing is impossible are right. Now, that still doesn't tell you anything. That still doesn't cause any pressure release, because you don't know why nobody's perfect is wrong, and you don't know why nothing impossible is right. So let me explain to you, okay? Nothing is impossible, even perfect. We do perfect all the time. Perfect happens every second of the day, okay? Someone bowls the perfect game. They throw the perfect dart. They shoot the perfect arrow. And my favorite examples of perfect is in brain surgery, you have to get it right every time. You can't say, oh, you win some, you lose some. Brain surgeons have to do perfect every time. Every time. So do heart surgeons. Most surgeons. Okay? They can't, we get it right sometime. Nobody's perfect. You can't get it perfect. They have to get it perfect. People's life is on the line. Their lives on the line. So we do perfect, okay? You know, sometimes Steph shoots the perfect basketball shot, okay? We do perfect. I've seen people run the perfect race, flawless. I've done the perfect dance before, didn't make one mistake. So, conflict resolved. You can be perfect. Nothing is impossible. So, scratch nobody's perfect out of your list of things that are so. Once something goes in your head, we can't get it out. So what we simply do is cancel it out. In other words, we render it null and void with another thought. Another thought that when it pops up doesn't have any substance. It doesn't carry any weight. It's like a ghost thought. We took all the substance, we took all the force away from it. It has no impact, no effect on you. So it's no longer making you crazy. That's the counter to insanity, because you can't take anything out of someone's head. You can't brainwash a person. That's another useless word. Okay? You can't get anything out of a person's head once it goes in. That you know what else is insane? Studying is insane. In the real world, everything you glance at or not glance at, even things in your peripheral vision, is recorded forever. Forever. So what are you studying if all it takes is a glance and it's burnt head? What are you studying that causes problems with your recall? All right. I want you to imagine writing this one sentence, okay, and writing that same sentence on top of that sentence, and the same sentence again. And you keep writing the same sentence on top of each other, you no longer can even make out the sentence. That's why you can't recall things. That's why you have memory problem, overkill, the studying thing. All right. Once you saw that speed and reading was possible, everyone should be doing it. It should be the only thing taught. It shouldn't be some special class you got to take special course. If you could speed read, it should have been given to the first graders. The world is run by people who don't think so well. Their brains gummed up. They have holes in their mind, and they're leading you, and they don't know no more than you know. And you're complaining about it, but you're not stopping them. Because who's going to lead? You? You don't feel you can do a better job. That's why people have to be fixed. In a system, you must have heads and leaders to delegate to others. Okay, they must have a sound mind in order and good judgment in order to do things. Bottom line, what you call the world lost its mind thousands of years ago, and insanity has been passed down so long you call it normal. I'm not taking shots at what's normal and everything. Everything's been tampered with. Okay, let's stay on track. The note is about examples of insanity. You know what's insane? For you to be going, like I said before, every last person on this planet knows this fact. They know there is no such thing as a black or a white person. So you explain that to me. Explain to me why you're running around calling people black and white when you know in your mind that there's no such thing. Are you insane or what? You don't know what to call them? So you have all these sick things, okay, like comedy, which we didn't fully go too deep into because I got neuralized, as I said. And I'm gonna keep mentioning that, okay? It's sort of like real sick, okay, for you to laugh at other people's misfortune, but you were programmed that way, okay? Now at the top end, it's pranking. And last but not least on the insane list, the vampires. They're crazy. You know what a vampire is? A vampire is a creature that feeds on other creatures' minds, other creatures' life force, other creatures' energy, other creatures' actions. It has none of its own, okay? It's a mimic, but it has a succubus type of effect on people. When they pry into your mind, you'll feel a temporary memory loss, okay? Like your mind will just go blank for a second and you won't know why. But look around and see who's near you next time you just get this amnesia like you got Alzheimer's because your brain has just been picked by a vampire. And another thing about the vampire is insane. But and those who allow the vampire to feed on them are insane. This whole process is insane. This is how the vampire works. The vampire comes and feeds on you like a blood transfusion, only this isn't blood. This is energetic, okay? This is energy shifting. The vampire feeds on you, and the vampire starts taking on your likeness, your mannerism, your accent, your everything, and you start losing your accent. You start losing your mannerisms. You start acting like the vampire when you first encountered the vampire, what you call square, or stale, or green, and all of a sudden the vampire is getting really cool all of a sudden, and you don't realize what's happening to you. You look up one day and everyone's saying the vampire's just like one of us. But you're not anymore. See how it goes down? The vampires accepted amongst yours, and you're exiled because all of the you been sucked out of you, and the vampire has it now. And everyone around you think the vampire is cool and just like us, but you're not. You're fake. They start calling you what they used to call the vampire: fake, phony, green, cliche. Now you're spotting out cliches because you don't have original thoughts anymore. What? You don't remember? It's because it was sucked away from you. You don't remember? When the vampire arrived, it was like it was mindless. Everything it said was like a robot, cliches that a thousand other robots will say at the same time in the same situation, given the same stimuli, like a bunch of robots who all had the same program. Like they have some hive mentality, all saying the same cliches. You didn't even really know what a cliche was. Now, here you are spouting out cliches and metaphors, and the vampire has become like you. But that's a separate note. The vampires deserve special attention. I have a note just specifically about that point. Okay? This note is not about that point. I'm here to tell you why the vampires are crazy. All right? They don't know where to stop. They have an insatiable appetite. Okay? When you start, okay, let's take those people who you crazy people keep calling black, because there's no such thing as a black person. All right, but let's just, for the sake of argument, take these people. All right, they're messed up, their mind's gone, they're amnesia patients. All right, they their mind is gone. Why would you copy someone whose mind is gone? Why would you mimic someone in such a bad condition? All right, they're out there killing each other. All right, and vampires will go out and mimic their gang activity and mimic them killing, and the vampires will start killing each other too. That's too much mimicking. Come on now. I can see copying their music, copying their dance and their dress, and all them things are called cool. But killing each other, you gonna copy that too? That's an insatiable appetite to feed on. All right, that's insatiable mimicking. That's obsession. All right, that's a serious mental issue. It's like similar to the vampires you see in movies. They can't help themselves when they see blood. If you want to know if someone's a vampire, because they come in all forms and looks. If you want to know if someone's a vampire, all all you got to do is just shut up and be quiet. The minute you cut off the vampire's feed, the vampire's going to panic. It's going to actually start sweating if you don't start talking or interacting with it. It's going to start socking walls and doing all kinds of things like a drug addict when it doesn't get its fix. All you got to do is just keep sitting there silent. Don't say anything and watch the vampire give itself away. It's going to walk up to you. Its head's going to fall to the side like it has a broken neck, and it's going to ask you this question: what's wrong with you? Like something has to be wrong because you're quiet. Not on your end, but on the vampire end, you've cut off my feed. That's what's wrong. That's why I'm calling it wrong, and you're not showing no sign that anything is wrong. But I'm saying what's wrong because something's wrong. Because I no longer can feed off you. This vampire's attempt. These very words is the vampire's attempt to get you to continue to feed by asking what's wrong with you. Matter of fact, that's its methodology. Questioning you, cause you to have to output, answering questions. Why this? How come that? How come you're not talking? How come this? Anything to get to output, because it's feeding off of you. If you shut up and don't say anything, it will begin to act like a drug addict. It will start sweating bullets, getting even violent because you're just being quiet and don't feel like talking. So, for your own protection, put on some earplugs, There's things going on out here you don't want to hear, especially accidentally or subliminally. Put on some sunglasses. There's things being shot at your eyeballs that you don't want to see, accidentally, even subliminally, okay? And close your mouth. Make your motions small. Don't do any exaggerated motions because you will attract wolves, vampires. You want to know why Michael Jackson was so big? Big food. Big food for them to feed on. The ultimate food. It makes you the ultimate star. Believe me, the ultimate source of feed is the ultimate source of feed. But this is not about that. That's another note. This note is simply to prepare your mind by giving you examples of insanity. So you have some framework to start from. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. Ooh, I didn't know that was crazy, and that's crazy too. Then pretty soon you'll start seeing lines connected to these crazy things, like they all have common sources. They all have common sources. Some person made them up and pushed the thought in your head. Okay? They probably chopped up a tree, gave it a name, and put that name in your brain, like board, wood, cabinet, bat, stick. All these are not same words for a piece of dead tree, complicating your life instead of just leaving it at dead tree. So now you think the world is full of things, and it's not. That's insane. It's insane for you to see cabinets and doors when all someone did was chop up a tree and take a piece of it and put it in front of you and call it something else. They stuck some nails in it. It's still a dead tree. And it can be cut and shaped a whole bunch of ways, but they have not created anything. It's also another insane thing is the word create. You have no use for that word. You don't have that power. You don't have the power to create anything. Okay? You can only take what is already here, merge it together, mix it, do different tricks with it, but you can't bring anything new into existence. That's how you know you're not God. Okay? Because you can't create anything. Okay? You can't, there's not a single thing you create. You just simply take what was here and twist it a new way. You might even think that you create life by making people, but you don't. Because without the spark, it's just stillborn flesh. Okay? He can provide the sperm, she can provide the egg, but without the spark, it's still stillborn. So you can't create life. Okay? That's why they can't make a baby in a tube. They still have to make it inside a woman. Only thing they doing is substitute a piece of glass for a penis. It's the same process still. Artificial insemination is not creation of life, and neither is sex. It's the creation of flesh. You can't even create air. The plants do that. You cannot get in a laboratory and make any air. So you're crazy, insane, because someone taught you there was a Santa Claus, an Easter Bunny, and a Tooth Fairy, and there's not. And you believe them. Now it's wake up time. It's time to grow up. Time to mature mentally. Aren't you tired of people calling you childish? Have you ever wondered how it is that they can keep calling you childish and you can't defend yourself? Is you wondering how that goes down? Okay, they're saying your mind is not developed. Your body has got big as hell. You're supposed to be a grown person, but they keep saying you're childish, you're immature. What does that mean? They're implying that your mind is not developed. You have the mind of a baby or a child. This is what they're insinuating. So fix that by becoming sane and flipping the script on them. Say, well, I used to be immature, but immature beats insane any day of the week. That's what you do to them. So I can give you an example, but there isn't enough memory in this device or enough time. You would have to be here a long time. We have to put together a, a, a team of some of the greatest minds on the planet to catalog all the subconscious conflicts that you have and the correction for them and all this in order to fix the minds of the people. We have to go back across everything that happened that damaged them and threw them off. We have to find the author of every lie. So what you see me doing is only prerequisite to some seriously hardcore work. But I have a 30-year jump on my esteemed colleagues, as they want to call themselves. But I'm in a category by myself on subjects that they don't even have a name for. I gotta lift them up. I gotta fix these teams so that they can go fix people in all the countries of the world. So excuse me if I don't solely focus on shaking my butt on stage for your entertainment pleasure. You know that's not all I think about is making songs for you. Trying to save your life here. As always, I'm gonna tell you, your mind, you lost it. We found it, and for a small fee, we're gonna give it back to you. We're gonna sell you your mind back that we found for a finder's fee. It's only fair. You want to pay people to make you insane with television and Netflix and movies, and it's no stab at Netflix. They're just a carrier. But media, you want to pay for media to make you insane, then you're going to pay for the cure for that insanity. They're not going to just give it to you for free. You invested a lot of money in making your kids crazy. You're going to have to invest some in fixing it. It's that simple. It cost hundreds of trillions to drive the world mad over time. I'm going to pull out a few fixing it. That you can believe.